Hey, thanks for checking out Easing People into Waking Up. My name is Marvin, and I started this project in late 2022 after years of observing incidents like the Maui fire, the Balenciaga scandal, COVID, the stuff released by Wikileaks, 9/11, and oddities, in the US music and entertainment industry. I noticed these were things that would get whitewashed or not covered by the mainstream media. And I would experience dismissals from friends and family if I tried to speak about some of the weird coincidences or claims surrounding these events. And so even though I would find these whitewashes and dismissals annoying and frustrating, back then I would still end up keeping quiet and simply focusing on living my life. I think things started changing after COVID, though. Since so much surrounding COVID seemed weird from the beginning, it really started to raise just my suspicions, especially when people, I would see them, get dismissed just for things like asking questions about the origins of COVID, the necessity of lockdowns, the efficacy of vaccines, and things like that. So these experiences, of course, stuck with me, but I still was mostly quiet while doing whatever bit I could to keep learning about the truth of the world and sharing what I was learning in whatever tiny ways I could. It would confuse me, when these things wouldn't get much of a response from people. Like, that would really confuse me. Especially because people tend to say things like, I believe things based on evidence. So what I would do is I'd give friends evidence of something and they'd dismiss it. So it was very confusing, but I figured people just want to live their lives and not worry about how the sausage is made, basically. Well, eventually, I had a little bit of a breaking point that I can distinctly recall, and it was the moment that had me thinking, enough is enough. You remember in 2022 when Balenciaga ran those weird ads where children were photographed posing with bears in BDSM gear? Well, there's lots of weirdness that surrounded that, but one of the ones that stood out to me, and this is all well documented, it's not just speculation, was that one of the photographs features a book by a painter whose artworks include castrated toddlers. So I remember sending a New York Post article highlighting this to a group chat with friends. By the way, that's how big the scandal was, that publications like the New York Post had to cover it. And all that one of my friends said, literally, all I received was, get off the dark web. And of course, everyone else in the group chat ignored the topic, and I think something changed in me with that. I just suddenly realized just how deeply people in the masses are holding on to the illusions we were raised to believe. And mind you, this is, again, after years of awareness about strange events in history that I had been quiet about. Even during COVID and all of my suspicions of that, I was quiet. I obeyed. I did what I was told. For example, I got vaxxed. And something with just my friend dismissing and ridiculing me with this event, that was on the mainstream media. It was, for whatever reason, the final straw. And I knew then I couldn't just be on the sidelines anymore. And thus, this project was born. Now, since the end of 2022, I've now put a ton of thought into it. The project's title is intentional. Speaking and receiving the truth can be extremely difficult. Even something as positive as giving or receiving a compliment can be uncomfortable. And I think this discomfort explains why negative truths can just feel almost impossible to face. I also understand I can't wake anyone up. People need to generate an intent to speak and receive truth for themselves. This is where the easing component comes in. Since I know the truth can be difficult to accept and speak, I aim to make the transition from being asleep to waking up as comfortable as I can through truthful content. My hope is that this approach will be more palatable to the masses, supporting receptiveness to truths that otherwise might have been dismissed or ridiculed. And so I have some design philosophies for this project. No scary music or tone. Focus on specific facts rather than bigger picture claims. Ensure claims are validated with compelling, documented evidence. Do not tell people what to think or how to feel. Keep points concise and ask open-ended questions. Of course, I also know that speaking truth is just one part of the equation. Equally important is learning how to receive truth. In my studies, I've observed that people who limit or lie to themselves or others or are taken advantage of typically lack one to all of these skills I'm going to tell you here. The first is critical thinking, the second is emotional intelligence, and the third is what I call hyper self-awareness, which is a level of self-awareness that is so fine-tuned that an individual can't help but notice their own hypocrisies and faults. And so I think it's this combination, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, hyper self-awareness lacking, that often results in individuals lacking self-esteem, courage, and motivation beyond their own survival. Their behaviors reveal this to be true, even if they don't admit it. If the project is successful, I expect to see more people who can graciously articulate and receive truths. I also expect it to help individuals develop genuine self-esteem while maintaining what I'm calling cosmic humility. I think this balance is crucial, to prevent capable individuals from believing that they are quote-unquote better than others, which I believe can erode empathy and care over time. So that's the project in a nutshell, and a little bit about myself. My name is Marvin, and I'm a musician. I actually release music under a project named Join the Internet with one word, and I am a person who takes their own work seriously, but I do not take myself too seriously. And I'm known for just having a sense of humor. I believe in finding ways to enjoy life genuinely, without forced positivity. And if someone were to accuse me of using this approach as a coping mechanism, I would agree with them. We as individuals have to reconcile our own existence, and this is part of my way. So I hope you'll join me, and remember that while I'm hoping to make content that can be enjoyed by people, I'm hoping to make content that is helpful to people, my ultimate aim is for more and more people to learn how to speak and receive the truth so that they can also pass these skills on to others. Thanks so much, and let's help ease people into waking up.